Hi everyone, I'm Kathy from House of TOEFL, coming to you today with a very special video because today is for all my Arabic speaking students. I have compiled a list of the observations I've made that are common mistakes for students from the Arabic speaking parts of the world. Now, of course, I understand that every country makes different mistakes, even if Arabic is still the mother tongue. However, no matter where you're from, if Arabic is your first language, most likely one of these mistakes or all of them will apply to you. So let's get started with the first mistake made by Arabic speakers, and that is subject-verb agreement. So as you know, in the speaking portion of the TOEFL, it is necessary for you to report speech for all the integrated questions. That means you have to say, the woman says, the professor believes, the man doesn't like, the woman argues, and you have to make that S sound. And not making that S sound is such a common mistake. I know you might be thinking, Kathy, that's so basic, we know that. I know that you know it, but believe me, it is the number one thing I correct, I promise you. So please practice. Just walk around your house and say, my husband eats dinner, my son does his homework, my daughter watches television, and repeat sentences in your head until you're sure you're saying the S sound, because it's very common to skip that sound. And it is a pretty basic mistake, and the ETS could possibly take away points for that, especially if you do it more than once. Okay. Let's go to number 2. ED endings are often mispronounced by Arabic speakers. Arabic speakers tend to add a syllable. I walked, I talked. Those are wrong. The correct way to say those, I walked, I talked. Now, I'm not going to go into number 2 at length, specifically because I already made a video about ED endings. So please go back and watch that. It will be very helpful. There are 3 ways we pronounce the ED endings, and that video will explain to you when we make an id or a t or a d sound. So go back and watch that video. It's part of my channel. Okay. Third, the use of the verb no, or I should say the overuse of the verb no. So there are many different ways that we say when something is new, we don't say no. We say find out or discover, or if it's a person, meet. So for example, an Arabic speaker might say, I know my husband at a party. No. It would be, I met my husband at a party. Or they will say, when I lived in the dorm, I was upset because I knew my roommate stole my shoes. If it's new information, it would be I found out or I discovered my roommate stole my shoes. If we say no, it means that we already have the information in our head. For example, this is a correct sentence. I grew up in Canada, so I know some French. It's already in my head. It's not new to me. So be careful with the verb no. Don't overuse it, okay? And that's both writing and speaking. Let's go on to number 4. I bet you're not surprised by this, the TH sound. Arabic speakers have a tendency to say a Z. I bought the car. I went to the market. Well, that's not how we say TH in English. Now, I want to recommend someone else's videos here. Her name is Hadar. If you go into YouTube and you search for the TH sound in English made simple, you will find Hadar's videos, and she's fantastic. I really like her channel. But really quickly, with TH, our tongue briefly touches our teeth, and there's some air expelled. The car, that, there, those. However, for more on that, please go to Hadar's videos. I don't want to go into that too much at length, but do not make a Z sound. Okay, we don't say The road, the road, the road. Okay, next. Oh, to versus very. To is actually negative. And the reason it's negative is because it means in excess of what is necessary or appropriate or desirable. For example, you might say, oh, my husband eats too much sugar, or you watch too much television. But what happens with my Arabic speaking students is they use to in a positive way. Like, oh, I studied too hard for the test, professor. No. You mean I studied very hard. Very just intensifies it. But to means, again, in excess of what is desirable or good. So most likely you didn't study too hard for the test, you studied very hard. So please remember, to makes it something negative, something bad. You eat too much meat. He eats too much fatty food, etc. Okay, number 6, duplicate subject errors. What I mean by this is the speaker tells me the subject, like the professor, and then says a pronoun. The professor, he says. The woman, she thinks. Okay, every clause in English can only have one subject. So if you say, my husband, he is a doctor, you're duplicating the subject. Just say, my husband is a doctor. Just say, the professor thinks that this is a good idea. Just say, the professor says that there are 2 adaptations in Arctic animals. Do not say a pronoun right after the subject. That's a very, very common mistake. Okay, number 7, very simple. We do not say do mistakes or take a decision in English. We say make mistakes, make a decision. Okay, so this is incorrect collocations. So remember, the past would be I made a mistake. Okay, I made a decision. But do not use the do and the take. Those are incorrect collocations. And finally, last but not least, because this is extremely common, many Arabic speakers do not say the S sound on plural nouns. So an Arabic speaker might say, many student, many teacher, okay, a lot of daughter, and I don't hear the S, so a lot of daughters, a lot of students, a lot of professors. And oftentimes my students think they said the S sound, but they actually didn't. And a native speaker is very sensitive to that. So make sure if it's a plural noun, you are pronouncing the S. However, not with non-count nouns. So do not say advices, informations, or researches. Now that's just 3 examples of non-count nouns, but those are the most common. I often hear, my sister gives me good advices. And we never say advices in English, just like we never say informations, we never say researches. Those are the 3 very much the most common that I hear, okay? So if it's a count noun and it's plural, make sure you are saying the S, make sure you are saying it clearly, okay? So make sure you pronounce that S so everyone can hear. All right, that is it for the most common mistakes of Arabic speakers. Thank you for joining me today. Have a great rest of your day. And if you think I've missed something, please write it in the comments below. I'm happy to make a second video, a part 2 of mistakes Arabic speakers make. So please be sure to comment below and I will read everything. I always read the comments. And if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I'll be making more videos. So thank you for joining me. Again, I'm Kathy from House of TOEFL. And as always, good luck with your TOEFL test. Bye.